Hello and welcome to Unapologetically Speaking. I am your host, Erica G. Before we get started, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe below. This is a podcast for intentional, bold, innovative, and creative leaders. And today's intentional spotlight is on the queen herself, Miss Ebony Bloom.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So Ebony is the owner and curator and host of Queens Vantage Podcast. So we are doing a little double dipping today.
Yes.
You also wear so many other hats. So just tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, and
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Erica, for having me.
of course.
Yes. So I am the host and creator of Queens Vantage Podcast, as you said. But you know, we in many bags here. So
Right.
I'm also a senior philanthropic advisor for a local community foundation,
Okay.
where I work with wealthy individuals, helping advise on where they give their philanthropic assets.
Okay.
I'm a life coach, and I'm a mom.
Right.
Numero uno, I'm a mom. Yeah, so I wear many hats.
Well, let's start there with motherhood, because
Okay.
with all of those crowns that you are currently wearing, how do you balance that? Because I know we talked, you're a mom of 3 boys.
Yes.
I'm a mom of 4 boys.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm fighting for my life on most days. So how do you balance all of that?
Yeah, so I had to let go of the misconception around balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the balance is really between 2 things, and we're juggling multiple things.
Yes.
And so what I'm saying is I'm finding the compromise in life. If I'm doing well in one area, it means that something else is suffering. And so all I can do is do the best at what needs my attention first and foremost.
Okay.
And so that's how I find, like, what people consider balance is life is my compromise. And so if work is really busy, like it's my busy season now,
Yeah.
then that's what I have to focus on. Or if I have a child that's in need and they need my priority and my attention, then that's where I am. But I'm really finding a compromise in everything that I do and making sure that at the center of it, I'm taking care of myself.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So with all the hats you were already wearing with your 9 to 5,
Yeah.
why Queens Vantage? How did that come to be?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I personally don't consider myself an entrepreneur because what I'm doing is God-centered.
Okay.
There was a lot of women reaching out to me after I went through a divorce. And I think for many women, after divorce is like, oh my gosh, what does life mean for me? And for me, I was like, oh my God, what does life have for me? And with that, like I was on a grind. I was working 2 jobs. I bought a house, and my life just changed forever. Like I was able to build generational wealth for my family, for my kids. And so as women were reaching out to me, it started with me saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to go into life coaching so that I can help women understand that no matter what happens to you in life, you can design the life that you want.
Right.
Well, life coaching is a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're starting now to take on like the emotions and the energy of other people. And so I asked God, how can I help other people where I'm not having direct contact with them so often?
On a day-to-day basis.
On a day-to-day basis.
Right, yeah.
And so that birthed Queens Vantage Podcast.
Okay.
I wanted to share my story in a healthy way, but also uplift the stories of others so that they can talk about what they've gone through, because my story is my story, but how can I share the stories of others so that they can share and also uplift community and women specifically, like that's my target audience, but also men in our community as well.
Okay. What are some of the more inspiring stories that you have, set and listened to that have really driven your purpose to keep it going and to move forward?
Yeah, there's been so many.
Yeah,
there's so many.
I can imagine.
Like on camera and off camera. I think recently, I'll just share a recent story where I was in a parking garage. I was actually on my way to San Francisco to see a couple of my friends get baptized. And I switch purses like we often do as women. And I'm
Every day.
I'm on the freeway and I'm driving. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have that moment. You're like, I left my wallet at home.
Yeah.
But I'm going into the city and everybody knows there's paid parking. But I was like, oh, I always keep cash in my purses. So I have cash. I'll be fine. So I get there and the parking garage is like, we don't accept cash. And there was a young woman in the parking garage, and I said to her, I said, hey, by any chance, could you take cash? She said, I can't. And I said, oh, well, I have Apple Pay. The Apple Pay was down. And so I said, you know what? God will work all things out. And so I was like, I'm getting ready to walk out the parking garage. And she said, you have the Spirit of God on you. And I said, well, thank you. And she said, God asked me to let you out this garage. And I was like, really? I'm like, thank you so much. But I got to talking to this woman, and she started telling me about how she was battling some things and how her life just felt like it had came to a complete stop. And she had been praying and asking God to send her someone that could pray with her. And in that moment, I got out of my car and I just started praying with her.
Wow.
And I've been talking to this woman every night, or we're texting, and she told me that she felt something break after I got out and prayed with her. Like her life feels different and is moving forward. So there's stories like that, but there's also stories like on my podcast where a woman came on and she shared that her son was murdered and how God gave her a peace that surpassed all, so that she was able to move on, like not move on in her life, but she was able to continue going with something like, we're both mothers. So we know if anything happens to our babies, any one of them, we would just be, I can't imagine my life like continuing after that. And so she shared how like God really intervened and how now she's building a legacy in her son's name. So there's a wealth of stories that I come in contact with that just blow my mind every day.
I love that. And I like what you said earlier too about, coming out of this divorce and, how most women, and I don't know, but I can imagine, come out of it going, well, what does this mean? What am I supposed to do? Or what do I do now what does life have for me? You know what I mean? Because that perspective in itself not only changes how you move forward, but also how you move forward in those moments with people, right? Because if you share that perspective within yourself, then you're able to, kind of bleed that on to other people who are struggling and going through things, right?
It could go one of two ways. Like I could have said in my pity, I'm not ashamed to say, like after my divorce, my aunt doesn't like me to say this, but I was homeless. Like I moved in with my aunt. I was sleeping in her living room. My kids were sleeping on the floor. We were sleeping on blow up mattresses, and I was devastating for me. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to talk about it. In those moments, I found that there were people that were closest to me that knew what I was going through, that were talking about it. So they were sharing it with other people. And so it was like, I could have just lived in shame and hid in the closet and just was like, oh, well, like, this is my life. But I was like, no, God, I trust you with everything. So this is what I'm declaring over my life. And I felt like God just provided for me every step of the way. And I didn't just shed a marriage. Like it was a series of grief that I went through, because I also had to shed some friendships that, let me just say this. There are a lot of people that are in our lives and that are willing to listen to all the drama and all the negativity that we have going on.
Oh, speak on it.
But when I started building myself and started loving myself differently and having boundaries, because divorce taught me that you have to have some strong boundaries. It wasn't just the divorce. It was also like the shedding of friends that were no longer in alignment with the woman that I was becoming.
Yes, that is exactly what happens. And that's not just in a divorce. That's in any type of elevation of your life, any type of change that you begin to make. I notice that happens. Yeah. And, I coming into this year, I pray to God, please remove any and everyone from my life who is not, who you don't intend for me to move forward with. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Who you don't intend to continue on this journey. And the people that started falling off, I mean, to this day, I'm like, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I did not.
You posted something recently about the season of, was it solitude or?
A season of separation.
Of separation, yes.
Yeah, of understanding that not all separation on your way to becoming a better or different person is bad.
Yeah.
And then also understanding that people who want to see you do well don't take offense to your elevation. They don't take offense to you wanting to be a better person. I think it's the people who never intended well for you to begin with, or maybe benefited off of you being a lower version of yourself, that really take offense to, to you trying to elevate and be better. So it was a lesson. It was a lesson, I'm sure, like you said, through divorce. And there's a grieving process that not just your marriage, but divorce and probably family members.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. My family is solid. Yeah. And I'm so blessed because of it, because we have gone through some things together. Like when my mother passed away, folks didn't always agree with how I handled things. For instance, like when I spread my mother's ashes, I did it alone. And that upset some people. But I think when you start to really understand you and you're in your becoming season, it's like you're going to ruffle some feathers. But I've been so blessed that like my family rocks with me, good, bad, or indifferent. But the friendships, I like to say like I have just a few close friendships now, but they're healthy and they're safe people. I want to say healthy people. They're safe people. I'm actually reading a book right now that's called Safe People. Okay. And I'm learning to choose people that are safe. And so choosing people that don't just have a need for me, but that want to be in my life and that desire like the connection versus like what I can provide for them.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. So getting into your 9 to 5.
Yeah. We could talk about it.
Yeah, right. How did you get into that? I mean,
my gosh,
telling rich people where to spend their money.
Well, I'm gonna go back first,
okay?
Because I didn't start in the role that I'm in now. I've been with the foundation for 19 years.
Okay,
and I started there as the receptionist.
Okay,
so I started as the receptionist. I was just trying to figure out life. At the time, my oldest son was 3 years old. I think it was like 3, and I had lost my job at a mental health company. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to figure some things out. So I started temping. And a temp service brought me to the community foundation. And I started there as a receptionist and just grew. Yeah. So I went from receptionist to lead receptionist to assistant to a vice president to a coordinator to a senior associate role. And that's what brought me into now a senior philanthropic advisor. And it's a special role. I say that because what jobs are created so that I get to tell wealthy individuals where to give their money.
Right.
But I also take the role seriously because there are not a lot of people that look like me in this field. Most people in philanthropy tend to be in like programmatic areas. But for me to be a philanthropic advisor and a senior philanthropic advisor at that, and advising wealthy individuals where to give to, different causes. Right. And so it's an incredible role. I love it. It's a lot of work. Right. So sometimes when you talk about like balance, finding the compromise between what I do outside of that office can be challenging, but I get to go every day and know of like what's going on in the world. How can we better serve community and tell donors like, hey, I think this would be great for you to give money to.
You kind of already touched on it as far as being a woman in this role, but yeah. I feel like women in these type of roles really kind of are the driving forces because many of us are mothers. We already have that kind of like that nurturing spirit. So, how do you see the role of women, driving this area of focus forward and also leadership, being leaders in this area?
Absolutely. It's tough because there's different intersectionalities that I think women, especially Black women, face. Especially when you don't see yourself, there's not models of you in this career path.
Right.
So there's a challenge, but I think girls run the world. Like if you ask me, I'm like, women rule the world. And I don't mean that in a way of saying that we're better than men. I'm just saying, like you said, the nurturing spirit. I think there's things that we feel and we see that just perhaps the other gender cannot always relate to. No diss, but I'm raising boys and, it's my truth.
And we know boys.
Boy mom. But I think it's so important for women to be in areas where, women are always giving back. Right. Like we're always known to be the ones to give back, doing the backpack drives or, and shout out, there's a lot of men that do great work because I know a lot of leaders in this field. But I think it's just critically important to have women in leadership. I think we see the world through a different lens. And I think a lot of it is from what's within us. Like we are the ones that carry the children and we pour so much of ourselves into those children to make them greater members of society. And I think we do that with everyone that we come in contact with for the most part.
For sure. I know you work with wealthy individuals, but do you have any advice for people who want to be more intentional about giving, who maybe don't have those same resources?
Yes. Well, misconception is that wealthy people give more.
Right.
It's actually people who have less that actually give more when you look at it in aggregates over time.
Isn't that interesting?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So actually people that live below the poverty line tend to give more. But absolutely, I say get involved. There's different ways to give. And they said that there's 3 pillars. So you can give your money, so your wealth, part of your wealth, your talent, or your time. So there's different ways to give back. So if you don't have like monetary means, get involved, volunteer for a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So give up your time. If you have an expertise in something, so for instance, me being a life coach, there's times that I've taken on clients pro bono, where I didn't charge them anything because my goal is to help people become the better versions of themselves.
Right.
And I feel like money will come, profit will come. And so you can give up some of your talent for free. How can I help you that won't cost you a thing? And then I think the third pillar is even if it's you're giving your tithes and your offering at church, that is a way to give back. So if you have $25 to give a month, give it, or whatever your 10% is. So there's so many different ways to get involved in philanthropy that's not necessarily like where I sit.
You could also start a podcast.
You could also start a podcast.
You could also start a podcast.
Yes.
Because I know when we talked before, that was important to you, mentorship. And I was explaining to you that was kind of the driving force behind what I'm doing. It's just really wanting to mentor young entrepreneurs, but trying to find a way to reach more people without having to sit in front of the same number of people.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to balance and really, because more and more as you do, and I'm sure you know this, more and more people still begin to reach out. So, I mean, you still become kind of like this beacon and this prime contact person for people. How do you balance that? Because I am just getting started operating in this space, but I have been operating in a space of mentorship for quite some time. Yeah. And it's a challenge.
It's a challenge because you have to protect your personal space.
Yeah.
So let me give you one, and this drives people crazy about me, is that I'm the queen of D&D.
Okay.
I'm the queen of do not disturb. The moment I pull my car into my garage, my phone goes on do not disturb. And I feel like the world has access to me for much of my day. So when I'm in the office, my colleagues have access to me. When I'm in my car on my way home, people are calling me. You have access to me. But when I get home, that is my sanctuary. Yeah. And so I need to have time to decompress, to take care of myself. And so I have to get back to you when I get back to you. And that's just my rule. People don't like it, but that's like how I protect my own space. Like when I come home, I want to cook dinner. I want to listen to music. I might want to read a book. And I can't do that if people always have access to me. No. So I think setting parameters around what is your accessible time? What is your accessible time? So sometimes if I know that I have a call, if I'm going to be talking to you at 7 a.m. in the morning, I'll set my D&D so that it goes off, right, at 6:45. But I set parameters around my time because we're the CEOs. If we're going to be a CEO of a business, you have to be the CEO of your own life. And the only person that can control or dictate your schedule is you. And if you don't do that, then you're allowing everybody else to dictate
it for you. Yeah, for sure. Especially your children. Yeah. I think that's probably where I struggle the most. Like I have all these things, and whenever when I started the podcast, my husband was like,
another thing,
because being CEO of this company and running that company and being a mom and a wife and that's not enough. You don't have enough. And I'm like,
well, you're an ambitious woman.
No, it's not enough. So with all of your experiences, and going through the divorce and being a mom of 3 boys, how do you think that has shaped Ebony and who you are today?
So I thank God for my children. I was pregnant at 19 and I had my first son when I turned 20. And I like to think before that I was a rebel without a cause.
Okay.
I was like this spicy girl that was ready to pop off and girl, you got a problem, eye rolling, head shaking, just little chocolate thing from the Crest, right? And so
shout out to the Crest.
Shout out to the Crest. And that shaped me, right? I think that gave me my grit. but I also needed to soften up because I feel like God has so much more for my life. To be like sitting at the tables and wearing the different hats that I wear now, God had to propel me for that. And I think motherhood did that for me.
Do you think, so I kind of feel the same way. And I shared this with you. Like I had my first son at 19. I had 3 kids by the time I was 24. And I had boys, and I feel like in a way having boys kind of softened me up more.
Yeah.
Because I was so concerned about the women that they would choose and the type of examples that I was setting and who I was, and just really being mom and not trying to be anything else. So do you feel like the same has kind of occurred for you?
I found there was so much I found in being a mother, like a boy mom.
Yeah.
Where it was like I found that I love sports.
Yeah.
Like I found so many desires from my children and what their interests were. And I do think that boys soften me up because I had the grit already, but it's also this special place. And I wanted, like what you said, it's like, I want them to see the good in me, and I want to be a safe person for them so that they're choosing safe people in life. Yeah. And so it like, even now, like I hate it right now. I'm not, me and one of my sons, my middle son is like, we're just not seeing eye to eye. He's off, it's freshman year. He's off to college and he's challenging some things.
Oh, he knows everything.
Yeah. He knows everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And he doesn't see anything that he does wrong. And so trying to teach accountability right now. But so I'm like angry with him the other day. And I'm like, I'm getting off the phone, and I hang up the phone. And everything in me is like, I just want to call him back and be like, I'm sorry.
It's so hard.
Like, but I don't need to apologize because how I feel is valid. But I'm like, I want to talk to him. And now I'm like, well, I think we're giving each other some space.
Yeah.
But it softens me because I carry this with me every day.
Yeah.
You know, and so when he is ready to talk again, I mean, he's probably ready to talk now. He doesn't really care. He probably isn't even thinking about this. I'm carrying it.
Right.
But I think for me, it keeps me in a space of like wanting to have like that continued relationship.
Yeah.
And each time improving and getting better. And I don't know what it would be like if I had a daughter, but I thank God for my boys because like boys love their mamas. Mm-hmm. I think the world of us. And I think that also softens me too. Like to know that like these men in the world think the world of me.
Yeah, we also in my family, like we kind of giggle because I feel like if I had a girl, you know, she would be total thug life. Like she would be so hard, you know. And then on the other side of it, I see my boys, and it's like there's a softness to them. My husband's like, "Oh, that's your mama in you. That's, you know, this," and I'm like, it's a good balance. Yeah. It's a good balance because you cannot be hard all the time. And then as you were sitting there talking, I was kind of laughing to myself about the boys being in sports. And I was definitely not that soft mom when they were playing sports and loudest in the stands. Whose kid you talking about? You talking about my son? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Balance.
The balance. I know. I had a referee say to me one time, he said, I thought I was going to have to put you out. And I said, and what army were you bringing?
Right, right. Who was going to help you? Who was
going to put me out of here?
Right. Oh, my God. Yeah. So many memories. People used to always ask, like, how do you do it with 3 boys? And I have 4 now, but I felt like they always kept each other busy.
Yes.
You know, but
breaking
you haven't.
Things, throwing balls.
Yeah. But still together.
Yes.
Right? Because you have an age gap, baby, like I do.
Yes.
I think the age gap that I have is larger than yours, but I feel like he's the only child. Yeah. You know, in some regards, and it's harder. Yeah. Because he just requires so much of me. Yes. Whereas the other ones, I mean, they required a lot, but not the same. Yeah. Not in the same.
They were growing up together and they
were
had
bouncing
each other.
off of each other.
And I'm feeling very similar. So I share custody with my youngest, and I have him every other week. And the other 2 are off to college. They, you know, they're not in a home. And so he's living a little bit of like that only child life, but he's older than yours. Yeah. He's 12. And so he's good to like do things on his own. And he has a ton of friends in our neighborhood, but it's also like he requires a lot more than what the other 2 did. Cause they kind of had each other. And he just needs a little bit more like a mom time than they did.
I bet you're appreciating it more though this time around. Yeah. Nobody prepares you from that, you know, for that transition from mommy mom to bruh, you know. I mean, I say it all the time.
He
like
calls me bruh all the time.
What is that?
And he said it's just a figure of speech. And I'm like, it's not just a figure, because he's like, bruh. And I'm like, but I do it to him too. I'll be like, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. I find myself saying it too. When my 6-year-old probably says it more than anybody. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm mommy. Like, I'm not ready for that just yet. Please stay small. But but I remember when the older ones were younger, it was like, please hurry up and grow up. Like, I'm so sick of this stage and that stage. And now it's total reverse. And so my older sons feel like, you know, like he needs more discipline. Like he's got the real soft life. Like, why you guys, you know, not putting them in a headlock like you put us in a headlock? And you know, it's just hard finding that balance. I talk a lot about balance because I'm just in that stage of my life where I'm really learning balance and boundaries and how not to compare where you are right now to where you've been. Yes. That's hard. That's hard.
For me, and you said you was also a young mom, I think I was struggling, right? I was struggling trying to figure out, like, who am I as a mom, a wife, and also like financially. We were trying to figure some things out. Right. And I think I'm in a different phase in my life now where I'm thriving, right? I wasn't taking vacations back then, and now I'm planning a vacation for my youngest and myself. And so your parenting style changes over time because you change over time. Right. And you know, my oldest, I think I was telling you, like, my oldest, as soon as he comes home for the holidays, he'll walk in the house and he's like, give me a belt. I'm like, boy, what? And he's like, give me a belt because some butts need to be whooped in here. And I'm like, oh gosh. And he's like, because you didn't got soft, mom. And
back up off my baby.
Right? And we laugh and we joke about that, but it's like, I'm at a different phase and stage of my life where Kyson and I have more conversations about his choices versus like me being kind of, you're like more of a dictator when they're that first child, especially because you're like, that is your prized possession and you want to get everything right because you don't understand then that you're going to do some things wrong. Right. And you're harder on that first one. Mm-hmm. And then you maybe ease up a little bit. I don't know, but that second one is a whole nother story. That's the more challenging child. That's my lawyer. We got to argue about everything. And then with my youngest child, it's more like his aunt took him to, Dave and Buster's. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he came home with all these toys and I just looked at her and she said, you said I could do what I want. And he had this big Nerf gun. I mean, this thing is huge. And he begged me for 48 hours to open it after he had opened all the other toys. And I said, but you already opened everything, save something for, and I was like, you know what, why postpone happiness? Let that, but with the oldest, it would have been in that closet for a year.
Right. You're going to save it till Christmas. Like you have enough toys open. Oh man. You know, I tell people, and I try to tell this to my sons because like I said, I get this all the time, but everything that I thought was going to turn you into a horrible person didn't. And so when I'm looking at my youngest son, it's like, okay, he's got some ways about him. Mm-hmm. He's a great kid. He's funny. He just takes a lot of liberties, because he really believes that he is like one of us. So he is one of the older kids, you know, because he's around adults all the time. And then I have to, you know, I just remember I would have got into the oldest three, you know, like that would have never been allowed, but it didn't turn them into horrible people. You know what I mean? And actually I kind of feel like in a way I should have allowed them to make more mistakes.
Yeah.
And
it's not too late.
Right. Well, I'm learning that now, and I think that the problem with doing it now while they're older is now it's like, you know,
what do you mean?
I haven't been having to figure this out on my own. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. You know, just trying to find the balance.
Well, what I would say is also grace. Yeah. Extending grace to yourself, because who they were when they were younger required a different mom.
It did.
It required a different mom. Times were different then, you know, and now children have evolved. Like our kids they didn't come out the womb knowing how to use an iPad. They do now.
Right.
Like Kyson was like 18 months and he already knew how to use an iPad. And so I think as we evolve and time evolves, our children evolve and their needs are different and the world is different now.
Yeah.
Like now our kids live in a world where there's so much cyberbullying. So sometimes we're going to have to be a little bit more gentle on the ones that we have at home because they require a different version of ourselves.
Yeah. I talk a lot about, you know, social media ruining a generation. It's great for for what we do. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a woman in construction. I have a property management company, and I now have the podcast. Social media has been great to, you know, push those businesses out there and gain recognition, but it has also ruined a generation of people who are constantly comparing themselves and their lives to other
Yes.
people based off of what you see online, which we know is not ever the full story in any case. You know what I mean?
It's a snippet
It is
of our lives. Like I
It
like to
is.
think of mine as like my name is Ebony, so a magazine thread. And so if you were reading the story of another individual, you're not getting their entire life in that spread. You're getting a part of them.
Right.
And that's what social media really is. It's a fraction of who we are.
You're just getting what they wanted to share.
Yeah. And that's okay.
yeah.
People take a negative effect. They're like, oh, you know, all this person does is post something positive. I'd actually rather that, right? Like I'd rather see you in your healing versus having to see you in your struggle. And if you are struggling, like privately, I would love to get you some help versus like seeing you spill all your feelings and things online.
It's funny, that perspective, because a lot of people take it as if you're only sharing positive things online, oh, that's fake. We know that that's not real.
Right.
They're not being real.
Yeah.
Oh, joy. You know, and I've gotten this like, oh, you're so joyful. Oh, yeah, right. You know, and I'm like, no, I struggle. I struggle
Yeah.
every day.
Come sit and have coffee with me.
Right. Yeah, but I don't. But I don't need for you to log into social media and see me crying on the camera.
Right, yeah.
Like I'm never going to do that.
No.
Right. And I'm never going to. I don't seek pity, and there's not much that you can do. You know what I mean? If you do log on and you see me struggling, or you see me going, or I'm sharing something, like what can you do?
Yeah.
For me. So
I believe in sharing my testimony. I don't have to share my trials.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
So it's like the things that I go through, if you know me, like if you're in my circle, you'll understand what I'm going through. And I fought some dark battles on my own. And
Absolutely.
you know, with the grace of God to come out of them, and my community and my family have supported me. But what you'll see online is my testimony. But if you're understanding that everything should be taken into context, then you'll understand that everybody we're looking at, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's a social media influencer, everybody has their own story. So you have to be smart enough to look at things in context.
Right.
You know, you can't assume that people have these great lives and these perfect lives, because none of us do.
Right.
Like that's just reality. And if we all started with that, like what's the reality? Then when I see you online and you popping and you looking amazing, then I'm saying like she's having a great day and she's sharing a part of like what brings her joy. But if I wanted to get to know you and say, man, well, how did you get to the space of joy? Then I'm going to reach out to you and have a real conversation like we've done.
And I'm going to be super honest. And I'm
Yes.
going to tell you, I filmed that post 10 times before I posted it.
Yes.
I labored over it. I questioned myself.
Yeah.
I put my phone down and walked away from it. And I came back and said, I'm just going to post it. You know, that is the side of it that people don't see.
Yeah, I've been attacked. I've got a message saying, oh, you always have on makeup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I work in a professional career where you're polished when you go in. I can't go in basic. I mean, I could, but that's not me.
Right.
Just in general. But if you see me, probably I go in the office 2 days a week. If you see me the rest of the week, I have no makeup on.
Right.
I've done the other thing is like I've done posts with absolutely no makeup, no filter, and nobody says anything about it. But I'm like, that's interesting. But this is what you choose to attack.
Yeah. People are very selective on what they choose to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm finding that out as well. And I'm the same. I'm a boy mom, like true. And you know, makeup and getting, like, I love to get dressed up.
Yeah.
I get to get pretty today. Like, I love that. And I did a PSA about it. Like, it just makes me feel better when I get up and I do something with myself. But it's still not all out. It's not this, you know what I mean?
And you look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. So do you. But it's just getting up, and I work remotely. I work from home a lot. So I notice that I am less productive when I am lounging around the house in my pajamas, or when I don't look like anything, or if I have errands to do, there's a good chance I'm not going to motivate myself to get up and go knock those errands out if I don't get up in the morning and get dressed and do something with myself. I'm also not going to make content. I'm not going to be sitting in front of a camera. I'm not going to be marketing and posting the business. There's just so many other things that come with it. So
your everyday life, your normal life.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Like
it's
even this is
a
a glimpse into our lives,
Yeah.
right? We'll spend some time together for people to better get to know us. But again, it's just a glimpse into our lives.
So along those lines, managing everything that you're managing, figuring out who Ebony is and who Ebony is becoming. Is there anyone or anything that just really helps to keep you grounded? Like that person that you call every time, like,
yeah.
What did Cardi B say? Like, I'm losing my medulla.
Yeah.
Do you have someone like that?
I do, actually. I think there's two people that I go to. But what I've learned when in the season that I'm in now is I go to God first.
Okay.
I go to God first.
Yeah.
I had a moment, just being transparent. I got to buy 2 cars next year. I'm buying one for my oldest son, one for my middle son. Different circumstances, but this is what I have to do. And I was crying because I've already started purchasing one for my middle son, but I haven't helped my oldest son yet. And I had a lot of mom guilt around it.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did was I just got on my knees and I was crying out to God. And then after I was able to process it, so I was going through the trial,
Right.
I was able to share the testimony with a friend and my cousin. And so my cousin Maya is one of my go-to people to answer your question. She's my rock. She's my best friend. She's my sister. We are able to have difficult conversations, funny conversations, joyful conversations. And she's like always just there for me. And the other is my mentor, Vicky Braga, who, if I call her, again, we might debate on some things, but she's always got my back. She's always there. She always listens to me. And I think more importantly, like she always prays for me.
Okay.
So those are like my 2 rock, and it's women, like what you started with, right?
It is so important to. I always, growing up, and I used to tell people this all the time. Like for some reason, I just always had like more male friends.
Yeah.
And it's not that, you don't desire or want the sisterhood. It's just kind of how things fell. But as I got older, I found myself craving more female friendships, but more so like for support, but also inspiration, just wanting to be around women who got it, who were always trying to level themselves up in some shape or form. And surprisingly, it's not that easy. It's not that easy, especially at our age, right? Like, finding friends at this age, they always talk about it, like no new friends, because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't want to, but it's hard to trust people.
Yes.
It's hard to cultivate those relationships when you're busy, like especially as busy as I am. And I have amazing women in my life who are like, let's get coffee, let's do this. And I'm like, girl, how is May 2nd, 2026?
Right?
Like,
yes,
it's so hard. Yes. But, I just feel like you just have to make time for it. You have to figure it out, right?
That, and you have to have people around you that they're also focused on their own lives, and that they're not dependent on you. Right, to be at the center of everything that they have going on. Because I have like my little sister, and she's a friend, but she's my little sister. That's why I call her my sister. We may talk 2 to 3 times a year, like real conversations. We don't talk every day. We don't hang out. She's got her own friends. I have my own friends. We have our own lives. But if it's my birthday or if it's something I'm having or my kids are having something, she shows up for me. And we don't talk all the time. But when we do, when we have those mirror moments where we can catch up, she's studying to get her PhD right now. We catch up.
Right.
And so that's like the friendships that I need now is I need you to be so like focused on your own life that like I am a benefit to it. I'm not at the center of it.
Right.
And a lot of my friendships are like, girl, I will see you in 2026, or I'm booking out people 6 months in advance to come to my Queens Giving or whatever it is. And I'm like, those are healthy friendships to me. I think the unhealthy ones and where the danger is for us as women is when we start to be in friendships with people who are too busy looking over at our grass or looking over at what we have versus like what it took for us to acquire those things. Those are dangerous friendships. And so now I'm like, I don't really want those. Right. So I also think too, like putting people where they belong. It's a friend, associate, a business partner.
Yeah, I learned that hard lesson this year. But it was needed. It was a needed lesson. God has done nothing but reveal things to me since then, and has done nothing but not even about that person or group of people or anyone in particular, about me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Me, and just changes that I need to make. Because I think when you lose people, you automatically look at, kind of like
them
and what they were in your life, but it's not about them at all. It's about the version of yourself that you were to keep those people around.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably more revealing than anything is I need to be a different version of me. And because when I'm a different version of me, I don't even attract that.
Yeah.
Those people don't even want to be around me. And maybe that's why these people fell off, because God knew that this is where I was going, and those people were not going to celebrate me or be happy for me. You know what I mean? So
I said it on my podcast. I'm like, some relationships have expiration dates.
Yeah.
And we just have to honor it. It's like if you go in your refrigerator and the milk is expired, you're not going to drink the milk.
You don't question it. You don't smell it. You don't keep it around for longer. It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But
I
what
like
we
that.
do in human relationships is we see that we've reached the expiration date. Like, so for instance, now, like I don't drink alcohol, but I'll still go to wineries. And so I noticed that people that really care about me and love me, like when they come and they're at an event with me, I'm like, oh, you're going to get a drink? No, girl. Like, I'm not going to do that. Right. So people change and will evolve with you. I can't be with people. I'm going to just say women, but I can't be with people when they're just out drinking and they're getting drunk. That is not my life anymore. I don't subscribe to that. And I'm not knocking anybody. Do you? But if I notice that I'm at an expiration with a person, like this person likes to go out and they like to drink and they're constantly inviting me out, even though I said, this is where I stand on this for me, then we've reached the expiration date. But instead we'll hold on and then we'll resent the person, judge the person, condemn the person, when really it's like, boo, go out and have a good time. I won't be doing that anymore. And you don't have to invite me. I don't want you to even feel guilt about having not included me in this.
Right.
And honoring those expiration dates.
Yeah. Stepping into your queenship.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, speaking of queenship, and moving on to like the legacy of Queens Vantage.
Yes.
Where do you see that going? Like what is the ultimate goal for Queens Vantage?
So now I'm going to speak something that I normally speak in private.
Oh, please do.
Publicly.
You heard it here first.
You heard it
You're
here
welcome.
First. And I'm going to be very unapologetic about this.
Oh, I love that even more.
Yeah. So recently someone asked me, why do you do seasons for your podcast? Because some people just, produce. Mm-hmm. And I said, because I see Queens Vantage as a daytime talk show.
Okay.
And right now it's in its infancy, right? So right now it's a podcast, but one day I hope that it grows and we film in front of a studio audience. So yes, I'm saying it here first.
I love that.
And my hope for this is that it'll continue to empower people. For someone to see like this young girl that came from poverty with a mother and father on drugs and growing up in a rough neighborhood to going to corporate America and being successful there, and for them to say, you know what, if she did it, I can do it, and there's no excuse. So that's what I hope that Queens Vantage leaves, that it just empowers people to be the best versions of themselves no matter what.
I love that. I love that. When we talked on the phone initially, I told you that I was kind of struggling with not really the direction of the podcast, but more so about people wanting to come on and knowing in my mind that it doesn't really align with the direction of the podcast. And then just, kind of struggling with that. Like, I appreciate the support. I love that people see this and they are happy for me and clapping for me and wanting to, come on and have these conversations, but just also knowing like, this is where I want to take it. And I love that you just said that, because if you don't see it, it'll never go there.
Yes.
And I tell people that, when I'm doing any type of mentorship in the entrepreneurial area, it's like you have to be the belief system. Like Absolutely. It's got to be you. You have to see it, because when you see it and those opportunities present themselves, and you can see them.
Yeah.
But when you don't see it, sometimes an opportunity will come to you and you can't see it as such because you didn't first see this for yourself for Queens Vantage. So I love that. I love that you said that. I'm glad that you shared that too. Because listen, it's coming. And you've already started doing public hosting. Tell me about that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yes, so I am now the official host for KP Entertainment Connections, New Jazz Era. And so they curate jazz events. So I've hosted now at Yoshi's.
Wow.
At Vino Godfather Winery in Vallejo.
Okay.
I'll be back hosting at Yoshi's in December. And yeah, so it's opened up a whole new avenue of like me being on stage and welcoming an incredible guest.
Right.
So yeah,
right.
It's beautiful.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did that opportunity come to you through Queens Vantage, or?
I think Queens Vantage is like what birthed it. It's like what puts me out there publicly. And I met this woman, Kim Pruitt. I'm gonna give Kim a shout out for giving another Black woman a chance. I met her at an event and I told her I was a podcast host. And we met and she mentioned that this opportunity may become available. I had kind of like forgotten about it. Mm-hmm. We had met and she said, well, I'm working on this and we're going to need a host. And a few months later, she called me up and said, I would like to offer this to you.
Just being in the right place.
Just being in the right place. And also continuing on this journey because I've wanted to give up Queens Vantage so many times.
Yeah.
Like I almost every other week, I'm like, God, you still want me doing this? And because I think I really just held out on faith in what God said, I need you to do this. And it's opening up other avenues. And yeah, it's been an amazing ride.
I love that you said that because it's important to always remember that God gave you the vision.
Yes.
And that really helps to support your why when things are falling flat, because things fall flat, right? I mean,
yes.
I know for me, I'm still in the infancy, so I'm still gung-ho about it. I still am inspired to do it. I still love being in this space. I haven't lost any of that, but I'm busy.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard for me to find the motivation to add something else when I'm already so busy and already have so many other things going on. But I know in my heart of hearts that God gave me the vision.
Yes.
Right. God said, it's time. Mm-hmm. And God strategically placed certain people in my life and in my ear, like, what are you doing? Why haven't you done this yet? Call me when you're ready, when you do this, and then we can talk about this. And it was like, okay, bet, So that's how it happens. That opportunity wouldn't have come and you wouldn't have even been probably in that room if you weren't networking for that. So how important has networking been for you? Because I talked, to entrepreneurs about this and I struggled with this. Like, again, I'm busy. I don't want to go to another event. I don't want to, do this. But how important has that been for Ebony and Queens Vantage?
Yeah, that's a great question because I don't like networking.
Okay.
I mean, people think because you have a podcast that you just like to talk.
Yeah.
Or, I talk a lot at work because I'm advising. I hate networking, actually. Okay. I despise it. So where I had to find the balance in this is I had to be intentional about where I go and what I do. Intentional.
I like that word.
Yes. And so I see a lot of networking events and people send me networking events. And then I have to do my research and be very thorough and intentional about where I'm spending my time because it's something that I don't like doing. So if I'm saying yes to everything, then you'll find yourself in burnout season. Yeah. And right now we're in the month of October, and we're in a season where a lot of people will start finding that they're burned out because we have said yes to everything throughout the year. And so what I do now is I'm like, well, is it purpose driven or is it just popularity seeking? And so that's my new, at the core of my brand is purpose over popularity.
Okay.
So is this something that's purpose driven? How will this grow my business? How can I help other businesses grow when I go to this? And if it's not that, then I feel like it's just an event. It's a party. And maybe it's just so that I'm in a room and I can say I'm in a room, and I don't do those anymore.
Okay.
And so recently I drove 2 hours to an event called Harvest Your Brilliance. And it was with women who are very intentional in the entrepreneur space.
Okay.
And I network with over 30 women. And when I say I have all of their numbers, all of their contacts, so many of them have reached out to me about like whether it's brand development or strategy or like I'm in this elite network of women and I think that what you're doing is great. Let me invite you in. And I think when you're intentional about what you do, you'll see the seeds grow. When you're just out and you're just doing things and you're just saying yes to things, hoping that you catch something, you're just going to find yourself in burnout. So I'm just in the spirit of like, I'm going to be intentional about everything that I do.
Oh, I love that because that's what we're talking about, just being intentional, and being smart, just being smart about what you surround yourself with. When we were talking, you said something funny to me, but you were like, I don't do girls trips. Like I don't want to go on a girls trip and everybody's going to be twerking in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And I felt that because we're not, we're getting older, we're getting up there, but I do find myself kind of like not side eyeing, not judging, not any of those things, but more so like, oh, I'm going to be over here. Like, I don't want to be in that video. You know what I mean? But it's more, and it's nothing else but just me wanting to be intentional about who I'm becoming and what I am, what image I am, portraying and growing.
Yeah. And also,
and that's important.
We're mothers of boys, right? And I don't care what the gender of your child is, they're watching.
Right.
And so for me, I'm like, I want to I want to respect myself in ways on how people respect themselves is their way. Mm-hmm. But how I want to respect myself is not putting myself out there in that way. And also my sons watch everything. Like I just started my channel, by the way, y'all go subscribe to Queens Vantage on Instagram, right? I got to shamelessly plug.
Yes, you do.
But I just started my own broadcast channel and it's called The Royal Community. And my son was the very first subscriber.
Okay.
The very first. So they are watching everything that I do.
Yeah.
And if I'm teaching them how to respect women, how to respect themselves, then I have to carry myself at a higher, regard. Like I have to hold myself in a higher regard. And that's just me. And I also feel like this, like I talk to, wealthy people. So if I'm walking out of something, I want to be able to transition from wherever I am into, I'm running into one of my major clients.
Whatever room you need to be in. Yeah.
So it has to be in alignment.
Right. Yeah. I have a similar, I agree with everything you just said, but I also, just to add to that, I feel like I struggle with, I don't want to be overbearing with my adult children or my sons. Like, this is who you need to be, because I feel like they're becoming men and they have to figure out who that is and who they are. But I also feel like I'm always preaching to them about shedding certain behaviors. Like, it's okay that you did that, and it's okay that you were that, and it's okay that you thought that way. But now in this new season of your life, it's important that you elevate, and it's important that you learn from, all of those things and all of those belief systems and become something else. And so by saying that, it really puts the onus on you to do the same.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I can't afford to be who I was. I just can't. And she's there. She is Erica Lucky from Richmond, California.
Okay.
She's there, but she's also something else. And I really want them to get to know.
Yeah, she's
her.
Evolved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's an old saying that says, children don't do as we say, they do as we do.
Oh, yeah. All day.
My son had a project in high school, and he had to choose someone that he admired. And I said, oh, well, what is the criteria? And he said, well, they, have to be like a community activist, done things for their community in a positive way. They have to, be successful in their own right. They have to live in a house that, that they desire to live in. So they purchased a home that they wanted to live in, and drive a car that they want to drive. And I'm not sure if that was a school criteria, if that was his criteria.
Right.
And I said, okay. And so I said, like, who are you going to choose? And so I'm thinking like Martin Luther King or Obama, because he's a male. And he said, I chose you. And it was that reminder that like he's watching, because here it is, like I hadn't looked at my life as like, I'm successful, or I live in a house that I hadn't looked at myself in that way, but that's how he sees me. And so they're watching us. Yeah. And so it's like, it's one thing to tell your kids, you need to do this and you need to do that. But it's also like, what are you doing? Yeah,
I feel very strongly about that too. I have a son who's entering the workforce in a different way. Like for the most part, they've been in construction, like with us, and this one's kind of branching off and finding his way and doing his own thing. And every time he encounters any type of, you know, little thing or success or is elevating in his position, he's like, I got to talk to mom. I want to call mom and dad. You know, he calls us both. But I think a lot of that is just knowing that what we're doing and how we're operating in our space and growing our business. And I just take so much pride in that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of times they don't listen to us. They don't want to hear nothing we have to say. And he's like, I got to call my mom. Like, I got to call my parents. Yeah. Or I just want to share with them, you know, what I'm doing and get their feedback on it. And we had a funny conversation yesterday. I won't go into too much detail, but we were trying to direct him. He started a clothing brand, and we were trying to direct him on his clothing brand, and he was not hearing. This is several months ago, and he was like, no, I'm gonna do it this way. And we were like, okay, you know, but we really feel like you should do it this way. And then yesterday he calls and he was like, man, you know, I kind of got into a little discussion with my friends because, you know, they were trying to tell me to do this, but I was like, no, you know, I agree with my parents. Like, I'm doing it this way. And we were like, oh, so we were on the other side of the phone kind of laughing like,
oh, he was listening.
Like, oh, you know, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Because we told you this 6 months ago, but okay, it's okay. You know, you got it now. Like this, it's good. I'm just happy you got it now, you know?
Yes.
But you're right. They're always listening and mimicking, always listening and mimicking. So yeah, very important parents. I am so glad that we got a chance to sit down and have this discussion. I want you to let everybody know where to find you, how to connect with you, but also how can someone support you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Erica, it's been delightful just to sit here and get to know you more. Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast.
Absolutely.
I think that what you're doing is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And I think in this field, like cross-pollination is so important. And I think that's what we're doing today.
Absolutely.
So we're pollinating each other's plants.
Yeah.
And we're set a new seed for each other. So thank you so much for having me. As for you all, how can you support me? I have merchandise that's on our website. You and I both know we fund these podcasts completely out of our own pockets.
Right.
And we're building. And so support me by buying a t-shirt. I have a wellness journal that I'm dropping next April. Buy it, purchase it when it comes out. But for now, what you can do is please subscribe to Queens Vantage Podcast on YouTube. I'm also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And go follow us on Instagram and join my royal community. All right. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you. That's it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and make sure you join us for our next episode. Thank you.